So Ashish, in hindsight, if you were to give yourself, your younger self, a piece of advice, what would that be? Or one thing that you'd like to change about yourself when you were younger?
Okay, so one thing that it took me time to learn was that timing is everything.
Okay.
A lot of people could call timing luck,
Acha.
right? But I won't use the word luck because it's too fatalistic.
Right.
Right?
Correct.
So I think timing, when I say, is identifying, is this the right time?
Okay.
Because if you try to build anything, even if you're the smartest human being on this planet,
Right.
even with as much of funds, if the timing is wrong, it'll never get built or scaled.
Okay.
So one thing that I would have changed, 10 years ago, I would try to build many things while timing was wrong.
Okay.
Okay, and I think being very, very cognizant of the concept of notion of timing,
Right.
is really going to be important for me as I go forward.
Right. Are you ready for it also? Is the market ready for it, even if you're ready for it?
Exactly.
Ashish, according to you, what is success? How do you define success? Of course, the universal yardstick is the monies, how much funds you have raised, what is the value creation and all of that. According to you, what is success?
Yeah, so, firstly, I would say that definitely raising funds is not success.
Right.
Right. I mean, I think that is a wrong yardstick which people have thought of, and I think people are wrongly celebrated.
Right.
So that's the first thing. In my view, success is a combination of things, and firstly, and remember, success is also not a constant.
Right.
You got to be constantly evolving.
Correct.
To say that you are successful or your venture is successful.
Right.
But some of the things which, in my view, some of the points, number one is, how are you impacting the lives of the people? What, are you being able to really improve people's lives? So let's say, to give you an example of impact, as I was building Ibibo, one of the big impacts that we created was that 50 to 70,000 accommodation providers in the country got access to technology, data and analytics, and were able to distribute their inventory at higher yields to tens and millions of travelers, right? So that as an example is an impact, because those micro entrepreneurs' lives and bread and butter is being impacted. So I think that's one benchmark of success. The second benchmark of success is that the people, investors, shareholders, people who've shown faith and confidence in you as an entrepreneur, you need to return that. If you're able to give return on that, and the right kind of return, and again, this is not just financial, but the right kind of return, I think that's again a good benchmark for success, because as I talked to you earlier, as entrepreneurs, it's our duty to give back returns to the people who invest in.
Right.
So I think that's the second one, and then the third thing is that from a skunk work type of a setup, have you created an institution?
Okay.
Can you create an institution, from an organization or a business to an institution, which operates on the edge of chaos? It's not in full order, otherwise innovation will finish.
And it will survive without its founders.
And it should be able to survive without its founders. It's companies bigger than founders and people.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. So there's a lot of buzzword as far as shared economy is concerned, but there are not many solutions besides the Uber, Ola and Airbnb. What do you have to say to that?
Yeah, look, I think for especially a market like India, where, for people, the need for monetization, the hunger for monetization is so high.
Right.
And for people to become micro entrepreneurs is high. I think it's really relevant. There's a lot of scope in the whole sharing economy and the whole commerce, C2C kind of commerce.
Right.
But it needs to get orchestrated. One has to definitely ensure the right kind of, privacy. issues are sorted out at the same time, right kind of authentication, Aadhaar verification, police verification, etc.,
Sure.
etc. But I think those are problems which one can easily solve.
Address,
but
right.
the orchestration needs to be done.
Right.
So yeah, absolutely, and more so in a country like ours, right, where the notion of sharing actually is not something which is new. People
Correct.
would, people would live in a little locality and share sugar, salt,
Sure.
do a lot of sharing all the
Right,
time,
right.
which is absolutely foreign to the Western world, right?
Right. And your views on cryptocurrency, Ashish?
It is definitely something which could disrupt the current
Yeah.
economies.
Yeah. And do you think regulatory bodies are a must?
Yeah, I think regulatory bodies could slow things down sometimes by increasing the borders and unshackling the boundaries can increase innovation velocity.
Also, as far as the internet space is concerned?
That's right. So I think in general, so I'll give you a small example or three examples here. If Google would have come and asked the regulator that can I crawl content,
Right.
crawling content could be akin to taking away content without any permission,
Sure.
stealing content.
Sure.
Then Google wouldn't have become Google, right? Similarly, if Uber in India would have come on day one and said that I want to do an app-based business and tried to solve it through regulation on day one, innovation wouldn't have propelled, right?
Right.
I can give you hundreds of such examples, right? So I think in general, if day one you will have regulation to something for innovation to pervade, it'll be very hard.
Okay.
So I would say that in general, economies and governments should really create strong boundaries, strong boundaries around law. When something propels, something becomes bigger. Day one, you try to do it, you're killing the crop to propel on day one, basically.
Okay. So regulation in retrospect
Yeah,
after.
absolutely. In retrospect and thought out.
All right. Cool. Okay. So tell me, what are the 5 apps that you can't do without on a daily basis?
Oh, interesting question. So definitely the travel app,
Okay.
Go Ibibo.
Okay.
I can't do without it.
Okay.
I couldn't do without it till yesterday. Let's see how things go from tomorrow onwards. But definitely one, WhatsApp,
Okay.
very important. The Twitter app, Facebook, Bloomberg app is extremely important.
Do you watch television at all?
Now in my house, I have like a Amazon Fire Stick
Okay. Okay.
where I get all the content.
Correct.
And then on another television, I have an Apple TV, another way to get all the content
Right.
from the internet.
Right.
I have one TV, which is right here in my lobby, which has a Tata Sky.
Oh, it does? Okay.
So, but usually it's not me who's watching; it's my maids who are
help.
watching in the lounge. So
the
yeah,
the reason I ask you is, what according to you is the future of media?
I watch news on demand. So I
Correct.
choose whether I want to go to Times Now.
Sure.
Or I want to go to BBC,
Sure.
and I can go back and I can even do live programming. So it's all completely on demand, right?
Excellent.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful. Okay, so now we're also going to test you on your startup jargon.
Right.
I've heard you use that quite a bit, but let's see how you do right
Okay.
now. MVP.
Minimum viable product.
Right. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I think it's a great concept, and I would encourage people to be very cognizant of it, because when you're building something, you don't want to try and solve all problems on day one.
Right.
Build a basic viable product to test
Right.
and to learn, and then scale it from there.
Sure.
So you would choose, from a viability point of view, you could choose a small customer segment, or you could choose a particular feature of your product and test it out.
Freemium. What does that mean to you?
So the basics are free, and then to get incremental services, you pay for it. So to give you an example, today's date, Gmail is a freemium product.
Correct.
So till a particular size of the mailbox, it's free. I need more space for my drive or for my mail, then I pay a yearly fee. Dropbox is yet
And
another
that
example.
works.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you really look at the whole internet world is freemium, right? At Go Ibibo, for example, we would allow people to do free search comparison and only pay when they decide on a transaction.
Right.
So freemium as a model has been pretty prevalent in the internet space. There have been different flavors of it.
Okay. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Ashish.
Take care.